which means they've sold data to Bristow and Suter in their Leighton case, or any of those other parasites. They're actually processing your data. And what happens when you ask, oh, we need to see, or give them the SCR, they ignore the SCR, they never reply at all, ever. That's a breach after 30 days. Doesn't matter what it is. It's a breach, so you can sue them for not replying. It doesn't matter what else they do.
And I assume they can be sued in their absence. So I'm like, if they're not replying to that, are they likely to reply to a court hearing?
Who cares?
And if they don't reply to that, can the court? Who cares?
Right? So that would be even easier, wouldn't it? So if they don't reply to the actual SCR, that's a breach. So you just send a second SCR because you want to follow pre-action protocols. So after the second SCR, you would send the letter before claim, telling them, look, you've breached my data. You've never replied to anything. That's a breach. You don't have to prove what they have or what they haven't got. They've actually physically breached it by not doing the action. Right? Then you file your N1 claim after the letter before claim, because you need that for the pre-action protocols under the CPR regulations, court procedure rules. So you're just following the rules. File the M1. 99% of the time, right, they're probably not even going to realize what they've done. They don't turn up at court, then they're going to get a default CCJ against them, and then you've got your claims, and then you can enforce your claim for the 5,000 plus the 205 that you actually put in for the cost of the filing the N1 in the first place.
There you go.
But it's because they haven't replied. You don't have to prove about the liability or whatever. This is what
you're essentially relying on their incompetence and ignorance to.
And they are incredibly adept and brilliant at providing the proof of their incompetence by literally, they just don't do it. They just ignore you completely, And we've actually got a copy of HMCTS newsletter sent out to all the legal advisors, telling them and the council point blank, anybody challenges council tax, ignore them. Do not reply to anything that may even look like a challenge, and they call it free man on the land watch, right? That's what they call it. So anything that challenges their legality at all, just ignore it. So that has been passed down from councils, which is why they're so arrogant, by the way, and ignorant, because they're getting told by HMCTS to be that way. They do believe that they've got superpowers. They do have special statutory powers to be able to use the Local Government Finance Act 1992.
But isn't that all by consent?
You can argue that point, right? But I'm just saying, with that's why it's all held in the magistrates' courts, by the way. It's all of these special statutory powers. But I think it's went to the head when they read about the special statutory power. It just means a different rule.
Well, they don't even use
superpower.
Councils don't even use a court. They hire a court. So it's not really. There's no receipt of that court because it's not actually a court with an actual judge. It's council play acting.
Which is why they've never ever got the real liability order. Just go in and hire
surely
the
that
rule.
in itself is fraudulent because they're pretend. It's the same with us. It's the same as us as impersonating a police officer. They're trying to impersonate judges.
And I've been into many of these council tax kangaroo courts, by the way. So, I know firsthand exactly what they do. And all the council staff stand outside, right? And there's no magistrates. The magistrates are sitting having a tea party somewhere. And they're not expecting anybody to go in. So they've all got their laptops, all right? And as soon as anybody walks in, right, you've seen them dragging them off into little offices. And then they arrange payment. And then they let them go. That's what happens at these courts. They're all the staff, it's the council staff are waiting there. And then they quickly have to get the magistrates together, because I've been into the magistrates. Last time I was in, I was actually shouting at them from the public gallery because they wouldn't let me put any evidence in, right? So, but they were shouting back at me as well. It was the magistrates. It was having a two-way conversation from the public gallery. But they were just quickly put together, because they don't really run it normal as you would a normal court. It's just absolute pathetic.